What's up, everyone? I hope you're having a good day today. So I made a video a few months ago about the Cambodian population in Lowell and a certain subset that exists in that community. It did better than I expected, and it's one of my most continually watched videos. Usually after a few days, the views slow down, and then eventually they come to almost a stop. But that video continues to gain views, which leads me to believe that there's a good number of people interested in the subject. Since I made that video, I recently noticed while looking through news headlines that just a few weeks ago there was a large federal case brought against the Lowell-based ABZ or Asian Boyz. The Asian Boyz or ABZ are a nationally syndicated organization that originated in Long Beach, California, which in the early 1990s was a mecca for these Cambodian and Asian organizations. 9 members from Lowell, Lawrence, and other neighboring cities were wrapped up in the indictment. Sarai Ruth, aka Baby Gangster, BG, or Bad Guy on the Street, is the leader of the Asian Boyz Lowell set. The Lowell police asked for help from the feds because of the scale of their operation. Even though each set from different states and cities operate independently, they are still loosely affiliated nationally with other sets from the organization. And the feds allege that ABZ uses their contacts and other sets from across the country and internationally to aid them in their sophisticated trafficking operations. As I stated in a previous video I did, Cambodian refugees started arriving in Lowell in the 1980s, fleeing their war-torn homeland. Lowell, which must have had an influx in affordable housing, became host to the second largest Cambodian population in America behind only Long Beach, California. By the late 1980s, Lowell was poverty, crime, and drug-infested declining mill city. The Cambodian refugees banded together to protect themselves on the rough Lowell streets and from the already established Latin gangs that controlled Lowell's seedy underbelly. Combination of these youngsters from Lowell and relatives coming from California on the run from the law saw a rise to the Asian and Cambodian gangs in Lowell during the early 1990s. Some of the major sets to establish themselves in the city of Lowell were the TRG or Tiny Rascals gang and ABZ or the Asian Boyz. ABZ usually identifies as Crip and rocks the color blue to show their allegiance. So of course, in defiance to ABZ, blood sets started in Lowell and other Asian communities in Massachusetts like Revere and East Boston. TRG and ABZ were known to battle with each other in Lowell and many other states and cities as well. In the last video, I spoke about a failed shooting in front of a pool hall in Lowell, Massachusetts that resulted in a beef between ABZ and TRG. Now, I'm not sure if it's because of their relatively secretive nature or their low-key behavior, but you don't see Asian gangs in the headlines as much as other ethnic gangs, at least not in Massachusetts. But my relatively little experience in institutions and on the streets, Asian gangs are extremely active and not to be approached lightly. Apparently, the federal government agrees with me. In this massive federal indictment, the U.S. Attorney's Office alleges that the Lowell set of the ABZ or Asian Boyz were heavily involved in both narcotics and firearms trafficking. Among some of the gang's specialties were pressing crystal methamphetamine into fake Adderall pills and probably selling them to countless UMass Lowell students cramming for tests. Hey man, Adderall usually doesn't keep me up for 3 months straight while I pick my skin off in front of a mirror. They are of course pressing fentanyl into fake oxycodone pills as well. This has become an incredibly lucrative black market now. With all the regulations on prescription pills, these gangsters are buying pill presses off of Jeff Bezos' Amazon and pressing thousands of fake pills and distributing it into our communities. If you don't believe me, just Google pill presses. Multiple ABZ members are charged in the indictment and were caught with hundreds of grams upwards to kilo amounts of fentanyl and crystal methamphetamine. The other top pressing charge, besides their vast and sophisticated narcotics trafficking operation, is their firearms trafficking operation, specifically the sale of the semi-automatic rendering switches. If you have ever listened to drill rap, you know what a switch is. Basically, it's just that, a switch on a gun that turns a semi-automatic handgun into a fully automatic weapon. They are absolutely awe-inspiring and terrifying. Watch a video of somebody hooking up a 50-round drum onto a handgun and then flipping a switch on it and see them empty 50 rounds in seconds. Now imagine that in the hand of an untrained 16-year-old in a densely populated city. Yeah, exactly. So the feds allege that Sarai Rath, the top dog of ABZ in Lowell, aka BG or Baby Gangsta, like most enterprising gangster drug dealer kingpins, started his own rap label called Money Affiliated. The feds allege that money affiliated was just a front to launder illegal proceeds from their illicit operations. BG, along with other ABZ members, rapped on tracks produced by Money Affiliated. On his rap songs, he constantly referenced ABZ and specific members and deeds, most likely trapping out of bandos and sliding on ops. Even though they produced music and performed live shows, the feds claimed that it was merely a front to launder their illicit money and was a way to spread their gang's propaganda. This indictment comes 2 years after another massive federal case with another Lowell-based Cambodian gang called the One Family Clique and CMF, or Crazy Mob Family, who were charged with similar charges of trafficking fentanyl, methamphetamine, and MDMA in the city of Lowell. They also used their national contacts to ship narcotics interstate through the U.S. Postal Service. The OFC, who were rivals with ABZ, and another set called the Outlaws, were involved in a bitter tit-for-tat war that resulted in 12 separate shootings in Lowell during a 6-month period that led to the case against OFC in 2020. While drugs, obviously, and other Latin gangs are a problem in the city of Lowell, it's evident that all the way from the 1990s through today, the greatest threat to Lowell's sense of security and on their streets are the Asian gangs and gangbangers. The Lowell police and gang units are proactive and try to stay ahead of the tide with the Asian gangs in their city, and are not afraid to tap federal resources such as the FBI, DEA, and ATF. In this latest case against the Asian boys, when the Lowell police discovered that they were selling switches and AR-type ghost guns with 100-round magazines, they immediately contacted the ATF for assistance. Law enforcement officials said that this will put a significant dent in the drug and firearm trade in the Merrimack Valley area. While selling fentanyl, MDMA, and methamphetamine and fake oxys, their specialty had been producing fake Adderall pills. They had the black market for this cornered, and the police wished to put a significant dent in this trade. The police view this as being predatory towards younger, more inexperienced drug users. Law enforcement are pleased with the results of this case so far. They believe that ABZ's sole purpose is to pump poison into cities like Lowell and profit off the misery and chaos that they sow. They are a sophisticated criminal enterprise that sell dangerous narcotics and automatic weapons to the community engaged in violent conflicts with other criminal organizations over control of the proceeds, endangering the community and turning the city streets into a war zone. Lowell police say that the city is infinitely more safe now, with the federal case 2 years ago that took 15 members of OFC off the streets, and now with this July's indictment against ABZ that resulted in 9 members being incarcerated. The police and feds say, make no mistake, these are the most dangerous and sophisticated organizations in Lowell and maybe even in Massachusetts. Like I said earlier, maybe because of their low-key nature, Asian gangs en masse don't get the attention that Latin gangs like MS-13, Latin Kings, or the Dominican drug organizations, and of course black street gangs from Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan that have been locked in a civil war since the 1980s. The feds launched their offensive on July 28, 2023, just a few weeks ago. When the investigation had wrapped up and they were ready to execute warrants, they take gang members into custody. The 9 defendants are currently waiting trial for an array of charges, with sentences ranging from several years and substantial fines to life in prison and up to $5 million in fines. Now, a variety of things could happen. It's very early in the litigation process. Most likely, prosecutors will lean on younger, less established ABZ members and try to get them to cooperate against the leaders like BG. The U.S. Attorney and the feds describe BG as the leader of the gang and a known member of ABZ for over 15 years. And he's promoting ABZ and their violent lifestyle through his gangster rap music and his music label Money Affiliated. The feds will most likely try to make an example out of a charismatic leader like Roth, aka BG, with the whole weight of the federal government. What could also happen in situations like this is if the gang members all stay together and stick to the script, gangs with resources like ABZ can hire high-profile attorneys that can file a structured plea agreement where basically everyone pleads guilty. It's not what the government usually wants because it's smaller sentences where the leaders don't get smoked with football score sentences, but if the government can't get cooperators, sometimes it's the easier, safer way for them to get a W. Guys, I took criminal law at North Shore Community College. Don't fuck with me. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this case. I can update you guys if you're interested. I just figured with the interest in the video that I did about a month ago about Cambodian gangs in Lowell, I thought you might find it interesting that there was a massive federal takedown literally weeks after I made that video. Obviously the two have nothing to do with one another, but I just thought that it would be a good subject for a video that might interest you guys. Let me know what you think about this case, or gangs in Lowell, or Asian gangs in general. Make a request if you want a video about something similar to this instead of the predominantly mafia stuff I do. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We just passed 1,300 this morning. Really still unbelievable that many people not only watch my videos, but have subscribed to my channel in only 3 months. I am so unbelievably grateful, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember to make good choices, take good care of yourselves, your family, and your fellow humans. Have a great day, and I will talk to you guys very soon. God bless.